and they have a sucka good time. Hi, my name is Lacey, and welcome to my review of episode 6 of Temptation Island. Ooh. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, because I am trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the year. So thank you so much for your support. And I do a lot of other dating shows, so get in on it. It's a lot. We ended last episode at the guys' bonfire, and I think it is Hall's turn. I don't remember what his clip was, but we're done with his clip, and Hall is saying how in his relationship deep down, he knew that Caitlyn wasn't the one in the long run. Yeah, and he needed this break in order to realize this, and he didn't know how to say it at home because he was worried about pleasing everybody, her friends, his friends, everybody's family. And here he has the freedom to explore and do what he feels is best for him. We go to the girls' bonfire, and we begin with Caitlyn. In her clip, well, in the clip they show Caitlyn, Hall is talking about how something is still missing in their relationship, how it's still Michaela, and he's like, you know, focusing in on her, and the connection's getting deeper, and just his doubts about Caitlyn. And Caitlyn gets really hurt and really sad, and she's like, he already broke up with me once. Why did he bother getting back together with me if he was having these feelings? She also says that she is having a lot more fun on her own without Hall kind of tempering her fun. And so she's gonna try and have more fun and happier and be happier without Hall. In Paris's clip, Gray is talking about how he's now considering himself single. He's not going to consider Paris. It shows him doing shots or body shots or licking whipped cream or something off of somebody's butt. I don't remember who. It was a lot of butts. And it also shows him getting into bed with Nafisa after the prom party. And you know that leg and side butt? Paris sees that too. Paris starts crying, and she says that how she's embarrassed by him, but that he could also feel the same way about her because of what she's doing. And she breaks down, and it's just kind of a lot to process, and they don't really go into depth here, but Mark does come over to her and say, you know, open up to the girls, they're here to help you. And he does ask if he could give her a hug, and she accepts. Maricella's turn, and in her clip, Chris is talking to Alexis in the hammock and how they're connecting, and then then shows him telling Nafisa how horny he is for Alexis. And Maricela is just like, you know what? I'm kind of relieved he's finding somebody who actually ticks more boxes than I do. I'm off the hook now. I don't have to put so much pressure on myself because I have to live up to Christopher's ideals or whatever. So she feels a lot happier without him, and yeah, she's doing good. Vanessa. Okay, so Vanessa's clip shows Rob talking about how Vanessa says that she lowers her standards for Rob, but it's actually the other way around, that Rob feels that he's lowering his standards to be with Vanessa. It also shows Rob and Desiree after the party, like last time, making out and dry humping on the couch. And Vanessa is shooketh to the core. She is like, the audacity, the nerve of him, how dare he do this to me. She swears a lot and just gets very, very angry, but like, she also said that she's lowering her standards, so it kind of goes both ways. She calls him a boy who's not ready for the relationship. Mark says she's more upset about the kiss, but what did he say about standards, and how Vanessa said that about Rob too, so it kind of goes both ways. And Vanessa is insulted and just generally angry about the whole thing. Understandably, but, you know, she's kind of a nightmare. After the bonfire, Vanessa's just angry, and Caitlyn is sad and just kind of feels like a little numb and feels stupid for giving Hall a second chance. When the ladies come home from their bonfire, the guys, the single men of the villa, have all taken their shirts off, oiled themselves up, and prepared a spa day for the ladies. And so all the women get like massages and champagne and just a nice little relaxing night after the ordeal that they went through. On the guys' side, all the single ladies have poured shots for the guys for their tough night. Great actually breaks down crying and is vulnerable about what he saw with Paris. Chris apologizes to Alexis for having his walls up earlier, but he says he is no longer in a relationship, that he is done with Maricela. Hall is very happy with Michaela, and he says he's over Caitlin, and Michaela is what he's been wanting this entire time. Rob tells Desiree he does not want Vanessa anymore, and he wants to proceed with her. As the women are having their spa day, Caitlin is talking to, who's she talking to? Michael, and she says that she feels stupid for getting back together with Hall and being everything on his terms. Maricela, however, is having the time of her life with Christian, and she takes him back to the room, and they have a sucka good time. And the red light of seduction goes off in the men's villa, and Chris is very disappointed and covers it up with a blanket and says, "We are classy men. We at least waited." Judge much? The next day, Maricela is working out, and Christian comes over, and Flirty Flirt helps her stretch a little, so things are going very well for them. Caitlin is now telling Sebastian how stupid she feels, and he says that she needs to be sure before doing anything, going forward with any relationship. Vanessa is talking to Bryce, and she says how hard it is, and then they talk about everybody's age, and Rob's age, and Rob is 24, and so they're like, oh, he's 24, he's so young, he doesn't know what he's doing, he's stupid. I think 24-year-olds can be just as mature, and 40-something-year-olds can be just as immature, so... Christian with a C and Paris are having a little chat in their robes, and it's nice, and Christian is saying, he's shooting a shot and saying he's into her and that he's there for her to support her, and that she needs to forgive herself and stop blaming herself, and that she needs a gentleman, perhaps him. Christian and Maricela have a hike date, and she is claiming her power and having a time of her life and finding herself. Caitlin and Mike have a date, and she's just in her feels about Hall a little bit, and like, why'd you get together with me? I feel stupid, blah, blah, blah. He's kind of over it a little bit. Not her, but over the Hall situation. And he says how she lights up when it talks about her career, and he wants to be there to support it. Bryce and Vanessa. I feel like Bryce is managing Vanessa. I don't feel like he's into her, because Vanessa's a lot. And yeah, I don't see this as a thing. But they have a date, and he is patient with her, and she says she's working on being vulnerable and opening up her walls and not being guarded. And she says that she's optimistic about the experience. They hug, and that's pretty much as far as it goes with Vanessa and Bryce so far. Caitlin and Sebastian are flirty in the kitchen, and she's starting to have eyes for Sebastian. She says he's a nice bad boy. We shall see who Caitlin decides on, because she's kind of in between Michael and Sebastian at this point. Now we're going to go over to the guy's side. So we're over at the guy's house, and it is a new day. Christopher is drama. He's just so dramatic in his, like, I feel like all of his one-liners are like what you would have thought of a day after the fight, and you're like, oh, this would have been so sick if I said it. And so he's like doing all these like dramatic one-liners, like, yeah, you want to be single? Have at it. And like dramatically stands up and walks away. And I just feel like he's too much. I'm not a fan of Christopher. He thinks Maricela will come back to him, and he is like reveling in the fact that he's going to be able to say no to her. I don't think so. Gray is very hurt about Tajik and Paris. He says that usually in real life he doesn't see it, but now that he sees it and it's in front of him, it is affecting him. It goes both ways, Gray. You know, just saying. Gray and Nafisa chat. I love her dress, by the way. I forget what it looked like, but I loved it. They go on a date, and they're like kind of in like an old truck bed, having like a little picnic in an old truck out in nature. And he's saying that he knew it was Nafisa over Tammy when he went on the date with Tammy, and he couldn't stop thinking about Nafisa. And they're both really happy together, even though he's still kind of has that thing. He has unfinished business with Paris. But they end up kissing, and they go into the car because it starts to rain, and they go into the car, and it looks like clothes come off, and the windows get steamy, and a handprint goes up, kind of like Titanic, and dramatically. So somebody was getting busy in the car. Woo. Alexis and Christopher go on a date, and he's saying how much she challenges him, how he really likes her, and that she really cares about him. It's all about Christopher, isn't it? Hall and Michaela are having their 4th date of the season, and it's romantic, blah, blah, blah. They have strong feels for each other. They're by the beach, and they talk about soulmates, and they're both kind of fully ready to explore this. Rob and Desiree are doing like a little sand scrub date by the pool and rubbing up on each other's bodies. And Rob is saying how much happier he is with Desiree. He's feeling more trusting and open. And they make out. I guess on these dates, there's no red light, because it didn't happen with Gray and Nafisa either. Back at the girls' house. So Paris is talking to the girls and saying how she's upset with Gray because her and Tajik just kissed, and it looked like Gray and Nafisa went all the way. I mean, they're under the covers. I can't verify any of that. And she says that Gray embarrassed her. Maricela and Chris, they go back to her room, and they take a shower together, and they rub each other down outside of the shower with some specific little bits and bobs blurred. And it looks like they're getting along because the red light goes off in the guys' villa. Ooh, ooh. The guys are not happy about this, but they are playing a game of like, they put a questions or dares into a thing, and then they pull them out and do it. And there's twerking, and Nafisa thinks that Christopher has the biggest dick or whatever, but it doesn't matter. So Caitlin at the girls' house is trying to decide between Sebastian and Michael. Michael's getting a little jealous, and Paris tells Caitlin to pick which guy she likes best. And Caitlin just doesn't know yet. And so she's like, well, I want to talk to both of them. And Michael actually apologizes because Caitlin says she doesn't like jealousy. So he apologizes, but he just says, you know, get to know both of us. Just keep me in the loop. Totally cool. Back at the guy's house, before everybody goes to bed, Rob asks Desiree back to his room, and they smooch in bed under the covers. And then Christopher takes Alexis to bed. And I don't know what they're doing under the covers, but let me tell you, something looked a little fast, like a jackrabbit under those covers. So I'm thinking that Chris got to work. That's my guess. But the red light, meanwhile, is going off in the girls' villa with Vanessa standing guard, or rather sleeping on the job, because she's passed out on the couch facing the red light as it is blaring in her face, saying, hey, your man is with Desiree, and Maricela's ex is pound town with Alexis. People making some moves, people tempted, and people giving in to that temptation. What do you guys think of this week's episode of Temptation Island? Let me know your thoughts down below. And please check out my other recaps of all the other dating shows. I got Love Island UK. I got Love Always. I got The Big D, which comes on after Temptation Island. And I got more coming up. So hit that subscribe button. Thank you for your support, and I will see you next time.